How stressful was HSC, eh? Everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in my video today, I'm going to be talking to you about my top tips for studying. I just want to say I'm sending all my love to everyone in year 12 at the moment. I know how hard it is, let alone like this whole situation that's happened. So I hope you're doing okay, but just know that it will come to an end and everything will be fine. So I just thought I'd jump on and film this video because I have had a few people younger than me who have asked me for like a lot of tips and stuff for HSC and how to get a good ATAR and stuff like that. I've got a bit of a plan of what I'm going to talk about. I asked a few people on Instagram what they want to know and things and tips and stuff that I could help with. So I've written down pretty much everything, but I'm going to start off by just answering a few common questions that came up. Okay, so the first like pretty much main question was what subjects did I do for year 12. I did English, general maths, drama, legal studies, business studies, and studies of religion 1. So I did 11 units. For HSC in New South Wales, it is a minimum of 10 units, so I did do an extra unit on top of that. But for me personally, at our school, we had to do studies of religion 1. We had to do at least studies of religion 1 because it was mandatory. So I either had to do 2-unit religion or do 1 unit and another 1-unit subject, or do the 1 unit on top, if that makes sense. And I decided to do the one on top because if you don't know this, they only count your best 10 units. So I obviously had to work harder because of that extra unit, but at the end of the day, my worst unit in my HSC wasn't counted, if that makes sense. And another question that came up really frequently was how to balance school life and social life in year 12. My biggest tip for balancing school life and social life is organization to the max. My diary in year 12 literally was like by the hour. That's how organized I was, because at the end of the day, you can't just say, oh, I'm just going to, you know, study over the weekend and go to that party. You need to physically say, I have to study for these 2 hours on Saturday morning and these 2 hours on Saturday afternoon. And if I don't do it, I can't go to the party. That's how you have to put it. Please be on top of your organization. If you know that you have something coming up, can't stress enough organizing around that. So make sure that you've gotten everything you need to get done before that event, so then the next day you can use that to tie up any loose ends you have with the work or whatever. Like last year was so much fun. I honestly had a really good year, so I think that you can definitely balance school life and social life easy as long as you're on top of your organization. Then you'll be fine. Question that someone did ask me was how to tackle 2 exams in one day. So in my trials I had 2 sets of 2 exams in one day, and in my HSC I had 1 set of 2 exams in one day. So please do not think that in between the exams you are going to study for the second exam. It's not going to happen. In between my exams I had an hour and a half break. In that hour and a half, like I said, you need to eat food. You need to go to the bathroom. You need to drink water. And by then, you're already going to be lining up to go into the next exam. So you need to use that hour and a half while you're eating or whatever to just read over your notes, revise. There is no way possible you can sit there writing an essay in an hour and a half. It's just not going to happen. So if you have 2 exams in one day, please pre-prepare. So I'm going to start off with pre-HSC. So we're going to talk about like preparing and studying and study tips and stuff like that. Then I'm going to talk about during the HSC, things you can do to excel your like performance, and then post HSC. So if I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. Tip I would say is, whilst you're still at school and in class, try your best to stay on top of your notes. You don't want to be scrambling to finish off your notes the day before an exam. You want to be revising your notes the day before the exam, and you want to make sure that your notes are really clear and concise. So you don't want 200 pages full of notes. You want to minimize it as much as possible, because realistically when you go into the exam, you're not going to remember paragraphs or sentences or this and that. You're going to remember keywords, key phrases, diagrams, things like that. So I would suggest to make your notes as simple and clear as possible in a way that you understand them. But my best tips for notes would be keep them clear and concise, use diagrams, pictures, stuff like that, and use acronyms is definitely a big one, and just stay on top of it as much as possible. in the long run when it comes to exams. It'll help you so much. Okay, and my next tip is to ask questions to your fellow classmates, to your teachers. It's not a competition, HSC. I know it might seem like it. At the end of the day, if your whole cohort does well, everyone's mark goes up. So definitely ask questions if you have any to your teachers and your fellow classmates. With your notes, each subject is quite different. I can't say specifically for each subject, but I'm going to give you some general study tips and then just a few specific things for specific subjects. And in no way is this like the only way you can do it. This is just the way I did it and it worked for me. So when it comes to your notes, what I would do is when I was done, I would like obviously print them off. I would highlight and annotate them. So I'd highlight my notes, then I would annotate them in like the margin. So this sounds really weird, but I would talk to myself as well. So talking out loud really helped it absorb into my head. So sorry about that. Okay, another one which I know is really shitty, and I really did not like doing this, but honestly you have to, is practice exams and they're marked by your teachers, because this will give you an idea of, for example, how many quotes you need, how much evidence you need, how to improve your writing and your sentence structure, and if you're actually answering questions properly. A lot of the reason that people don't get the marks they want is because they don't actually answer the directive term properly. By handing in practice essays, you can actually see if you're answering the directive term right, how much evidence you need, all of that I just explained. And then in maths, I would say to do past exams. So last year, my year was the first year to have like the new syllabus, and it was quite hard because we didn't have, you know, past exams that we could just do all the way through. If you find there's a question you're stuck on, go into your textbook and answer as many questions as you can on that one question or type of question that you're stuck on, and then go back to doing the practice exam, because you want to make sure that you can answer every single type of question possible. And with practice exams, in regards to other core subjects, you can see the trend in the type of question that they ask you, and you can see what type of questions they've asked in the past and the way that they structure their questions and how you can break that down. Now we're going to go to pre-exam. So this is like pretty much like within a couple of days before your exams start. So I would definitely say you want to be revising at least 2 days before. So like I said, you don't want to be doing notes the night before exam. So when it comes to those 2 or even 1 day before, if like need be, you can literally just read over everything, rewrite everything, go over everything as much as possible. And just remember, it is okay if you don't remember everything. I remember I was so stressed. Oh my God, I don't remember every single thing possible. It's very hard to remember every single thing. So you just have to know that you've done the best for yourself and that you've worked as hard as you possibly can. Another tip I would have is get a good sleep. Not stay up till 3 a.m. If you have a 9 a.m. exam the next day, it's not gonna work. You need to get a good night's sleep. I try to aim for 8 hours sleep a night before an exam. Sometimes it was 6, sometimes it was 7, but at the end of the day, you need at least a good 6 to 9 hours sleep. Yeah, and just make sure that you drink a lot of water and you're trying to eat as healthy as possible. Out of the house, go for walks, stuff like that. You need to clear your mind. Okay, during the exam, use your reading time wisely. So in those 5 or 10 minutes, that is really crucial. What I personally did was either plan my essays in my head, or I would go and like start answering the multiple choice in my head. I personally started with my essay. So obviously in most of the core subjects, e.g. legal studies, we have 2 essays. So I would do 1 essay, do the rest of the exam, and then do the second essay, just to break it up. But it really depends on the question. So going in there, you can have a game plan, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And it is so important to plan your essays. Even if it takes an extra 5 minutes, please plan your essays, especially if you're not doing your essays first. I personally did my essays first to avoid this, but a lot of people got to the end of their exam and they didn't actually plan their essays and didn't get to finish. If you don't finish, the markers look for a plan. If they can see that you've got a clear and concise plan in place and you know exactly where you're going with the essay, you will more likely get marked for that. You know what I mean? You're obviously not going to get the full marks, but they will take that into consideration. Another thing that is so crucial is break down your time. When it says on the front of the exam, essay time 45 minutes, essay time to 45 minutes, multiple choice 20 minutes, whatever it is. Literally look at the time, and when it has gotten to 45 minutes, stop writing your essay and move on. You can always come back to it, but you're better off not having a conclusion rather than not finishing a whole section of the exam. I found after especially the first couple of exams, a lot of people did not finish things, or they had to rush things, or they had to guess things in multiple choice because they didn't do that with their time. Okay, so the next section I'm going to talk about is post-exam. So please give yourself a break after the exam. Obviously, you've probably done prelims if you're in year 12, but after you finish HSC exam, especially if it's a 3-hour plus exam, you're going to be starving. You're going to need to go to the bathroom. You're going to be really, really exhausted. And your best thing to do is go home and have a nap or go have a walk. Make sure you have something to eat before you start studying again, or whatever you need to do. Whatever you've done in the exam, move on. It's over now. You can't change what's on the paper. That's it. So please, please do not stress yourself out that you think you failed the exam or you think you answered a question wrong. Please, please do not think and stress over what's been put on the paper. It's over now. Move on and focus for your next exam. Because when should we start studying for HSC? You need to start studying ASAP. And in terms of full-on studying, I think maybe like a month before. Every day I set a certain amount of time towards just studying once I'd finished my notes completely. So yeah, because you pretty much have like 3 to 4 weeks before HSC. Once you finish learning your content, that 3 to 4 weeks, you need to be on it. Another question was how to stay focused. Like I said, organization. For me personally, I would set like a 2-hour time frame for studying, and then plan to go for a walk or like go get a coffee or something, and then set another 2-hour time frame. I found that if I just said, yeah, I'm going to study all day, it wouldn't happen, and I'd just push it back. Whereas if I knew that I had to get it done before I went for my walk, I would get it done. And the next question that I had is self-care tips. So I did write a few of these down because I feel like in year 12 you really have to be selfish. This is your year. You need to stay on top of your shit. That's it. Have fun. I know it's really hard online, but especially when you go back, please have fun. Year 12 is your last year where you have all your friends together, and you know, you get to be in class and, you know, have a laugh. Once you get to uni, it's not like that at all. It's very silent. And look after your physical and mental health. That's a massive one. If you feel like you're getting stressed out, if you feel like you can't stay on top of stuff, please, please speak to someone, whether it's a teacher, a parent, a counselor. Please speak to someone. HSC stress does get the better of people, and especially someone like me, I put a lot of pressure on myself, but I know there's a lot of people who feel a lot of pressure from, you know, family, friends, school environment. So please, if you feel that pressure, take the time to talk to someone. Just remember that year 12 and HSC is a fun year, but it is also really, really hard. So my best suggestion would be to work as hard as you can, because I promise you it will pay off. There is one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is university applications and early entry. The first tip is apply to as many universities or institutes or whatever you're going for as possible. So as you know, for example, in New South Wales, there's multiple universities. Whether it's not your first, second, third, fifth option, please still apply, especially for early entry. For example, I was offered early entry at Macquarie University before trials, and then for University of Wollongong before HSC. Getting early entry actually made me more stress relieved, and I feel like I went into the exams calmer and I did better. And in regards to tips for university applications in particular, extracurricular is key, especially if you don't think you have the marks. For example, myself, I had like leadership, sports, mock trial, mock mediation, debating, all of that type of stuff really, really helped me, especially for the degree I wanted to do. But you have to remember, when you're doing interviews, when you're doing applications, you have to make the university want you. You need to sell yourself like an advertisement. And I know it's hard talking about yourself and it's hard talking yourself up, but you've got to do it at the end of the day. You have to kind of be a little bit stuck up, if that makes sense, because you need to get accepted. You know what I mean? There's a lot of thought that goes into it, but you really, really have to choose what's best for you. And another little thing that I want to add on the end, I know this doesn't apply to everyone, but HSC drama performance. Please rehearse your group performances as much as possible. You have to be on top of your shit. Anyway, that is it for today's video. I really, really hope these study tips help some of you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm sending you all my love. during your HSC. Just remember, it is not the end all and be all. There is always other pathways and avenues. Please do not feel like you're alone, and please do not feel like this is the end of the world. I got through it, so you can get through it. The last exam will come, and I can guarantee you you can have a lit weekend that weekend after. Just please remember to prioritize, stay organized, stay on top of your shit, and you got this, girl. My Instagram is in the description below. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions. I'm here to talk. I just finished my HSC, so I'm here with any tips and advice. Please don't hesitate to message me. So if you've made it to the end, thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you got some good tips and advice from me. So much, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of the week. Bye.